Today on 10-Minute IT Jams, we have Sanjay Aurora, who is the Managing Director for APAC for Darktrace. So welcome to the JM, Sanjay.
Thank you very much, Nick, and it's a pleasure to be here.
No worries, thanks for coming on. So to begin, could you briefly explain how Darktrace's offerings work and how its technology works in general?
Yeah, Darktrace is a global leader in cybersecurity AI based in Cambridge, UK. Our fundamental approach to cybersecurity has been a self-learning AI that can be deployed anywhere across the digital estate, anywhere across the digital assets. And that self-learning AI is able to detect those threats which normal traditional systems haven't been able to catch. That's the fundamental approach that we founded our company in 2013. Today, over 5,500 companies. In fact, we are the first to commercialize the use of AI across cybersecurity. And that's what our innovative R&D team drives every single day. How it really works is largely based and inspired on the human immune system. What does the human immune system do? It understands self. My immune system understands my. It develops an innate sense of self. And anything foreign, anything abnormal, anything unusual that is happening, this immune system is able to detect and respond. We created the self-learning AI platform using the same philosophy. We take our self-learning AI, and I'm using the word self-learning deliberately because that is the core of why Darktrace has been so successful. And I'll come to that in a minute. We take our self-learning AI and deploy it anywhere. What it does is it is very quickly able to establish the digital DNA. What is normal for an organization? And by understanding normal, what we are able to do is restore normal in case of a cyber attack. And we know cyber attack is not about if, it's about when. Our mission as a company is to stop or empower organizations to stop the disruption that comes after or during a cyber attack by building cyber resilience. That's our mission. And how we work is, again, by understanding what's normal and autonomously responding when we detect a threat which is deviating from the norm, when we detect something which is not looking normal for the organization. Why is Nick receiving this email, which is out of character, which is out of time, which is out of behavior? We are able to figure out, AI is able to figure out, this could be a potential phishing attack, this could be a potential ransomware attack, without telling the system what's good and what's bad. And that's the traditional approach of establishing rules and policy and signature and continuously updating it. Our approach is learn the business, learn normal, detect abnormal, unusual activity, respond surgically at the speed of machine. And that's how we detect and protect organizations from significant attacks of all kinds, be it ransomware, be it attacks on cloud and SaaS infrastructure, be it on the industrial infrastructure. We do that every single day. I'm very proud of doing that.
Yeah, brilliant. So you mentioned a couple of the threats that a lot of people are seeing today, ransomware, for example. So I was wondering, what are the threats that are most concerning for you and for Darktrace?
I think ransomware continues to hit headlines, and there is not a single day that we have not read about ransomware. And there is a little difference in ransomware. One, of course, is the financial damage, the reputation damage, the disruption. But there is an unintended outcome of ransomware, and Colonial Pipeline attack was a watershed moment, right? Where probably even the adversaries were not anticipating where this is going to go. Today, ransomware as a threat is number one on everybody's radar, because it comes in from any vector that is coming in, and they can hop very quickly and do more damage than just encrypt data. They can hop into industrial networks. They can stop factories. So that remains a very large part of the threat. Insider threat, again, we call it the employee or the human is the weakest link, and that continues, whether it's an untrained or a malicious employee or an innocent employee who just clicked something and he brought trouble in. We are seeing, of course, with the pandemic situation, work from home, the whole concept of what is a network just changed overnight. And that's where the traditional systems which required, rules and signatures and constant updates were felt inadequate. So that remains another very big threat, where people are working from all kinds of places right now. The visibility has gone. So that's another thing. Of course, we see another big, I would say, trend is born in the cloud companies, right? Where you are talking about significant number of companies that are completely cloud, born in the cloud, as I call them. How do you have visibility, and how do you have security controls over that? So that we are seeing again. And that's where our self-learning AI, as I repeat myself on this topic, our self-learning AI is a unique approach, where instead of bringing data to training sets and bringing data to refine from wherever their digital estate is, we bring AI to the data. And that, I think, has turned how Darktrace very quickly is able to establish normal all across the digital estate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. So threats are obviously constantly evolving these days, often way ahead of cybersecurity measures that are trying to keep up with them. So how can a technology like Darktraces be used to fight against these evolving threats?
Yep. I would say that I mean, you're right, threats are continuously evolving. Adversaries are now having so much of technology and motivation, and it'll continue to evolve. And again, that's why the traditional approach to securing enterprises by identifying good and bad by creating signatures is always a step back, right? You are literally having a retrospective siloed approach, and that has not worked. So the correct way, and that's why whenever we are deployed in an organization, 95% of the time we detect things which are sophisticated, which are issues like compliance, which are issues like misconfigurations, which are sophisticated attacks in progress. The reason why we are able to find is, again, our focus is to learn the business and not the attack. Once we learn the business and establish what is normal for the business, we are not only able to detect those threats which other systems could not, we are able to surgically take action. We are the inventors of autonomous response capability. I'm very proud of it, because any attack, which is either a low and slow attack like data exfiltration or insider threat, or a swift ransomware attack, which does not allow security teams any time, artificial intelligence or autonomous response, which basically the system of Darktrace is able to determine what the threat is and take a decision on what surgical response within seconds it has to be done to neutralize. Going back to my earlier point, this establishes the approach of cyber resilience in organizations. So every time there is a threat which can disrupt business of an organization, Darktrace self-learning AI and autonomous response capability brings back normal, thus increasing cyber resilience and stopping the disruption that cyber attacks cause.
Right, yeah. So we as a company focus quite heavily on the APAC region. So what kinds of organizations do you work with in this region?
Right. So we established APAC headquarters in 2015 in Singapore, and today we have a very large presence all across APJ, or Asia Pacific, and Japan. Organizations of all industries, the traditional cybersecurity adoption happens in FSI and high-tech manufacturing. But for Darktrace, what we have seen is companies of all sizes and across all verticals are deploying our AI very successfully, very quickly, and they're able to leverage our AI in their networks, in their environments, I would say. So companies of all sizes and across all verticals across the region are leveraging Darktrace AI today successfully.
Brilliant. Cool. And I've got one more question for you, Sanjay. What are your latest product innovations or improvements from Darktrace?
At heart, Darktrace has been always a company which is very proud of innovation. In fact, our CTO, Jack Stockdale, has been given the Order of the British Empire. We've been recognized as one of the companies who are continuously on the cutting edge of AI, self-learning AI. So while we continue to build our solution, if you may, from the ability to detect unknown threats, to be able to detect and respond in real time, to be able to use AI to investigate and help humans figure out what these threats are. So that is the current offering right now. We've launched autonomous response on cloud and SaaS. We are talking about autonomous response capability throughout the Microsoft setup, announced a huge partnership with Microsoft. But I think our vision really going is, how do we use AI right now to detect, respond, investigate? And how can this self-learning AI be one day, and this is not a product, this is a vision, and I'm sharing the vision. How can self-learning AI be talking about, can we understand what kind of organizations are vulnerable to what kind of threats? Can we start predicting? Can we start preventing those threats? Can we talk about healing those threats? So how do we establish cyber resilience by taking AI to the next level, which is all about a self-learning AI loop? And that's our vision right now. And I think it's a very bold vision, but we are very confident about how we have executed so far, and we continue to boost our innovation capabilities.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of today's interview. Thanks for joining me today, Sanjay.
Thank you so much for having me.